Good evening. Good evening. I would like to welcome all of our viewers tonight, and I want to take the time out to ask you guys to take a moment to like and share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go ahead and like and share on our Facebook and invite some friends on to come on and watch. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker tonight. Miss Alaina is an accountant, certified financial coach, author, and content creator. She helps busy people who struggle with budgeting and time management use paper planners with budgeting to get organized. She shares her easy approach to productivity and finances through her YouTube channel and has amassed over 100,000 subscribers and 5.5 million views on the platform. Her work has been featured in Yahoo Finance, Martha Stewart Living, Wired, the New York Weekly, the Huffington Post, and she was recently selected as one of LA Wire's 40 under 40. Alaina lives in New Orleans, Louisiana, where she, with her husband, Tori, and her two daughters, will launch Empowerment Church in January 2022. Without further ado, it's Alaina.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be joining you today. This is actually my second time on the show. The first time we were actually talking about emergency preparedness. And so I am that was a wonderful time because I feel like it's coming full circle as we are getting prepared for a hurricane in this season. So I hope your family is safe and everyone is being covered during this time and that you are getting prepared for what's coming up next. But in this season, especially when we're talking about different things that's coming up, like emergencies and things that you may have to take care of with your family, one of the biggest things that we want to talk about or think about is how to create a financial vision, how to actually start to set financial goals in order to actually get where we are trying to go. So I wanted to talk to you about that tonight. And I wanted to share some slides with you that will help you walk through the process of how to create a financial vision. And it is a step-by-step guide that I actually created for you. And it's something that I have taught before. And I really, really think that it will help you on this evening. So let's go ahead and get started. If we can just pull up my slides and add them to the screen. So we're talking about tonight how to create a financial vision. And this is something that, God definitely wants us to do because he wants us to write the vision, make it plain. We have to have come to a place where we are actually documenting our financial vision, our vision for our life, the things that we believe God has anointed us to do. We want to start writing it down so that we can actually start achieving those things. So just to give you a little bit of a background on me, I know that they did the bio. Thank you so much, Kenya, for that. I do help people get their life and their money organized using a paper planner. So I love to teach people how to write down what they want out of the life, how to write down what they want out of their money. I coach people on how to do that. I do have a YouTube channel, and on that channel, I do post videos, 3 videos a week, and we have just crossed over 100,000 on the platform. I teach a free class every single Monday on organization. It's called Monday Motivation, and I also help people with my own group coaching program and my own private courses that really help them learn how to organize their life. It's something that we definitely should have been taught in school, but we unfortunately weren't always taught that. So the goal of this session is to help you get ready to get financially prepared or how to set goals. So I really want to teach you how to set goals in your own life and how to start working toward those goals. I have a website to where you can browse all of my courses, and it is on theorganizedmoney.com. So if you wanted to check out any of the other courses that I have, you can definitely head over there. So let's start talking about our financial goals and how to set them. When we talk about setting financial goals, usually when I say this, we will just brain dump random goals or random things that we believe we should do, right? We'll say things like, I want to save $10,000 and I want to pay off all of my credit cards. And those are great goals, but if we are just setting them haphazardly, if we're just saying them and we don't have a system or a reason of why we're setting the goals that we're setting, it's going to be very challenging for us to actually start working on them and achieving them because we don't have any deep connection to the goals that we're actually setting. We're just setting goals that we believe everyone else should set, right? I want to save a bunch of money because everyone should save a bunch of money. So I wanted to walk you through how you should set financial goals, and then we're going to dive into after you know how to set them and what you're setting, then how you're actually going to work toward achieving them. So the very first thing that you should do, this is a 6-step system that we are going to talk about with setting financial goals. And the very first part of that system is figuring out what matters to you. All goals are not created equal. Like I said, if you set a goal that is just based on saving, then how do you know that that's the most important thing to you when it comes to your money? You want to set goals that really, really matter to you in order for you to actually start achieving them and working on them. You have to be connected to the goals. So the first thing that I would tell you to do is brain dump everything that's important in you. Right? We are starting to write down everything that we could possibly want. So maybe you have some saving things that you want to do. Maybe you do have paying off debt. Maybe you want to make more money. Maybe you want to travel or eat out more, or there's a bunch of different things. There's no wrong answer here. You just really want to dive into what is important to you. The next thing that you want to do, the second thing that you want to do is start to put those things in order. So when I first start this process, I'm going to write down everything that I could possibly think of, all of the goals that I could possibly want. But like I said, all goals aren't created equal. So the next thing that you need to do or figure out is what's important to you. What's the order of those things that are important to you? What's the top thing that you want to achieve? And then what's the second thing and the third thing, right? You want to start to put those in order. When you're looking at your goals, especially when it comes to financial goals, you want to break them down into 5 subsections. The first section is your savings goals, and not haphazardly just a random number, but genuinely think about how much do you want to save in a year. Always connected with some type of time frame, but you want to think about how much do I want to save. The second thing that you want to think about is investing. How much would you like to put aside for investing? This could depend on how old you are and how much you may need for retirement. There are a bunch of calculators out there where you could kind of input the numbers and see how much you should be currently investing. And you could set up something really quick with Fidelity or Vanguard, a Roth IRA, and just start with as little as $50 a month just to put something away and aside. But you want to set an investment goal, even if the goal is to start investing. That's fine. You just want to set some type of investing goal. The third type of goal that you want to set is expenses goals. And with your expenses, they don't always have to be to reduce them. You could just streamline what you are currently spending. One of your expense goals could actually be to start tracking how much money is leaving your bank account and what type of where you're spending your money, right? You just want to write down, what are your expense goals? Do you want to do any traveling? Do you want to go out to eat? Do you want to have a really big birthday party this year? What are your overall expense goals? And then you want to think about your debt payoff goals. How do you want to reduce your debt this year? How do you want to make sure that you bring that number down? Make sure you don't have too much consumer debt. What is that goal? And of course, we want to be realistic with that and try and think about exactly how much could you do possibly in 1 year. The last thing that you want to think about with your goals is one that I believe a lot of people lose track on and they don't think about, but it's one of the most important ones, and that's your income goals. Because we only have a certain limited amount of resources, and if all of your budgeted money is already set, all of your income that you currently have is already budgeted out, you already have to pay for all of these things, and that's all you have left, then in order to achieve your savings goals, your investing goals, your expense goals, and your debt payoff goals, you may need to increase your overall income. So think about, in order for me to achieve the other four, how much money do I need to have coming in order to make this happen for me? So this is something that you seriously need to consider, because your income goals could possibly help you with all of your other financial goals. But you want to think about all 5 of these financial goals in order to set a fully balanced and a well-rounded financial goals system. If you just lean on one or the other, you really could be missing out. So you really want to think about all 5 of these. The next thing that you want to think about in the 6th part is your deadlines and your progress, how you're going to evaluate your overall progress. And this is where I usually will tell people, try and set 6 months or a year for your overall financial goals. And then you want to track your progress. I like to track mine every single month. So every 30 days, I will pull out my budget planner and I will start to look at, how am I doing with my savings goals? How am I doing with my investing goals? Am I reaching the benchmark every single month of each one that I want to achieve? And those are the 6 steps that you are going to take in order to first set your financial goals. So we want to brain dump everything that we are possibly thinking. Then we're going to put them in order based on what we want first, what we want second. Then we're going to break them down into our categories. Is this a savings goal? Is this an investing goal, an expense goal, a debt payoff goal, or an income goal? After you have that, then you're going to set a deadline. More than likely, it's going to be 12 months or 6 months. And then you're going to figure out a system to help you evaluate your overall progress so that you can see how you're doing, see if you're on track to actually achieving those goals. So let me give you an example. This is something that I actually did in the previous year. This was in 2020 when we were coming into 2021. This is some examples of how I did this process. So the very first thing that I did was drop down, brain dump all of the different goals that I had. Number 1, I said I wanted to increase my income by 50%, decrease my expenses by $500, invest $500 per month, save $500 per month, and decrease my overall debt by $8,000. This was getting rid of all of my consumer debt and paying off all of my credit cards. So that was the very first thing that I did. The second thing that I did was put it in order, right? So I said, I brain dumped all of the things that I want for the year. Then I put it in order. And the first order I have is to actually increase my income. The reason why this was number 1 is because in order to do everything else, all of the other financial goals that I had, I had to make sure that I increased my income first. That was the only way I was going to be able to achieve my saving, my investing, my debt decrease, and decreasing my expenses. It was the only way I was going to be able to do any of that other stuff was by increasing my income. So that was my top number one goal. And then I said I was going to save, invest, decrease debt, and decrease my expenses. The third thing that I decided to do was to increase, I set a specific amount, right? So I said I wanted to save $500 per month, but in my long-term savings account, I wanted to increase my savings account from 6,000 to 12,000. And that's me adding the $500 a month, but I wanted to make sure that that agreed to my ending balance at the end of the year being $12,000 in my long-term savings account. My fourth goal is for the investing, and that was to max out my Roth IRA, $500 per month. That means it's going to be $6,000 for the entire year. Decrease my overall expenses was the fifth one. Pay off all of my consumer debt was the sixth one. Have one credit card yet left. Increase my business income by 50% by the end of the year. And my deadline was December 31st, 2021, checking in on my progress every single month, right? So this is an example of how you can break down this process. As you can see, it's not a blanket statement of I'm just going to have or I'm going to save $20,000. No, break it down to how much you're going to save per month, how much you're going to need to save per check. And that way you are able to keep track and you're able to stay on top of exactly where you are in this process instead of just having a random amount that you aren't sure if you're actually going to be able to achieve. The better and the more detail that you have and the more deadlines that you actually associate with your numbers, the better you are going to be with actually achieving those financial goals. So this is an example that you can actually apply and actually start to do. The next thing that I would like you to do is once you know all of your goals, once you have set all of these dreams and these aspirations of what you want for your financial future, now we got to figure out where you are right now, right? So we know where we're going, we know what we want, but we need to know where we are right now in order to start to walk toward our actual goals. The best way to figure out your overall financial health, how you're doing, is not how much money you make. It's not the fact that you are debt free. It is by calculating your net worth. It's the only way to truly know how well you are doing with your overall financial health. How do you do this? It's pretty easy. You can write this down. This is actually a copy of what's in my budget planner, but I have at the end of my budget planner for every single month, I have a net worth calculation. And with my net worth, you're looking at your assets, which are your checking accounts, your savings account, your investment accounts, all of the different things that you own, your house, how much your house is worth. And if you don't know how much your house is worth, you can look up on Zillow. There are a bunch of websites out there where you can look and actually input your house details for free, and it will tell you how much your house is worth. And you're going to look at how much everything you own, how much it is currently worth, how much you have in your accounts and everything. So you're going to write all of that down. Then after you write down all of your assets, how much everything you have is worth, the next thing that you're going to do is write down how much you owe, right? So how much do you actually owe in your, like, for your liabilities? How much do you owe with your credit cards? How much do you owe on your mortgage, right? So we have how much our house is actually worth, but how much do we actually owe for the rest of our house, right? So all of these different things we're going to write down: student loans, credit cards, and we're going to see how much we are actually, how much we owe. Take your assets minus your liabilities, how much, whatever you own minus whatever you owe, and then you're going to get a number. For the average person, when you first do this, this number is going to be negative. It is usually always negative. It is not a cause for major alarm. The only thing that this is telling you is where you are right now. And now that you know exactly where you are, you can start to progress toward where you want to be. So when we first started, I want to say the number was like negative 150,000, something like that. And now all we had to do was keep progressing toward that positive number. As long as we weren't going more in the negative, then I knew we were trending in the right direction. So all of this process, it just does for you is tell you where you currently are. It tells you a little bit more about your current path and what you're trying to do. All right. The next thing that you're going to do after you have looked at where you currently are, you want to look at where your money is going right now. So we have set our goals. We know what our current worth is. Now I need to see what we're currently spending our money on. So what are your fixed expenses? What bills do you have? You want to look at all of them and make sure that they really resonate with you, right? So during this time, this is the biggest time where I would actually look at a lot of my subscriptions, because you're usually paying for a bunch of things that you're not even really using. So if you're still using gym memberships and all of these other things, if you are using them, then you may keep them. But a lot of times during this process, you will realize that you aren't using them and you don't really need them, and you will get rid of them. So you want to think about where your money is going. What type of expenses do you currently have, and evaluate, because this will help you achieve those financial goals, right? If we are able to see where we are right now, what we're currently spending, we may be able to get rid of some of these things, and then that will help us get closer and closer to our overall financial goals. And you want to look at what you need to spend in the future. So this is what we call sinking funds. And if you have never heard of sinking funds, they are a way to evaluate future expenses that may not be included in your monthly budget. We're talking about things that may just come up, or things that just don't happen every single month. But you want to make sure that you are thinking about them, because they can sidetrack your financial goals really, really, really quickly. So we're talking about things like, if you have to have a surgery, like I had to have a wisdom teeth surgery at the beginning of the year. So I had to come out of pocket for spending for that. A birthday, vacation, and I have a full chart of how you can think about these sinking funds. But this is money that you need to save for something that's coming up in the future. You don't know exactly when it's going to happen, or you do know when it's going to happen, but it doesn't happen every single month. So I have some of the categories on the screen here, but it's things like your medical, dental, vision insurance. If you have to pay out of pocket for any of those deductibles or anything that may come up, that could be a sinking fund. Holidays, Christmas comes December 25th every single year, but a lot of people go at least $1,000 into debt every single year because they don't save for Christmas. They aren't prepared for Thanksgiving, and then they usually use their credit cards in order to pay for Christmas. So in order to stop you from having to do that, you could save a little bit of money for that into a savings account, a sinking fund account. For your birthdays, your anniversaries, home maintenance, car maintenance. Car maintenance can really get out of hand very quickly and really derail your goals. You could be saving and then get to a place to where you have a $1,500 car maintenance fee. So you want to make sure that you have a little bit of money set aside for things like that as well. And this is outside of your emergency fund. So you already have an emergency fund, but you may have a short-term sinking fund account or short-term emergency fund account for these things. The other things you may want to consider is a clothing fund or furniture, back to school, child-related expenses. Back to school just happened, and it can be easily $400 or $500 just to get the kids ready for back to school. And you can have some annual renewals on some of your subscriptions. So you want to think about all of these things that could possibly come up that could really derail your financial goals. So we try and save for them now so they don't mess up our financial vision for what we want out of our finances. And these are the main things that will usually happen. It's usually one of two things. The first thing is our regular expenses and us not paying attention to how we are currently spending our money. So it's either that or sinking funds. So it could be an expense that came up that you did not expect and it messed up your entire budget, or it is you're not paying attention and those bills or random impulse shopping has crept in and it's messing with your overall vision for your money, what you really want to do because you ended up spending it on other things. Okay. Some other tips that will help you overall with creating your financial goals and actually sticking to them is number one, run your home like a business. So if you know any business, there is a structure, there is a CEO, a CFO, there are like rules and things that you have in place to make sure that you are following the system or the rules for the overall business. You want to do the same thing with your home. So for our home, my husband is the CEO, but I'm the CFO. So I will manage the money, I will pay all of the bills, and then we have weekly meetings where I will tell, like, we will discuss different things that's coming up for our family. That way, we are able to have financial meetings. We're able to talk about different appointments. We're able to talk about things that's coming up with the kids and things we may need to do for the house and things we may need to do for a family vacation or a trip. And things don't kind of just sideswipe us because they're on our radar, because we constantly are having meetings like a business. It's a structured thing where I will usually have this sheet that's up on the screen, and I am like really discussing each one of these things. So for our weekly meetings, we're talking about events, appointments, meal planning, our weekly budget, and any cleaning that we may need to do in the house. And then we will go down a list. So every single Sunday, even if it's really light, it doesn't have to be like a sit down, like we have to talk serious meeting. Sometimes we'll be watching TV and it'll be on a commercial and I will just say, oh, real quick, do you have any events going on this week? Do we have any major appointments? What do you want to eat? Like, we can lightly go through these things in under 15 minutes, but doing them every single week helps us stay on track with our budget, helps us stay on track with our overall financial goals, helps us stay, on top of everything that we need to do. So that's one thing that we do. And we also do this monthly, quarterly, and annually. But running your home like a business will help you so much with your overall financial vision. The next thing that you want to do is have some type of money routine. So I have a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly, and an annual money routine. Same thing that we do with the family structure. I do the exact same thing with my money routine. And it's the same 5 or 6 things that I may do. And once again, my daily money routine maybe takes me about 6 to 10 minutes at the most. But usually I'm just checking my bank account. looking at all the transactions. I'll categorize them really quick and see how much money we've spent the day before, match it up against our budget, and then we know how much we have left. For our week, usually I'm preparing a new budget for the new week, and then I will do a list of things for that. Then we have a monthly routine that I do, quarterly and annual. If this seems like, too much for you, if you feel like, what, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick to it. One thing that I did when I first got started is just made an appointment in my phone to make sure that I did these things every single week or every month or every quarter or once a year. And it really will help you kind of stay on top of everything if you have some type of routine. I like to write my routine down. I highly advise that you write yours down, because when you write it down, it makes it real to you and you're more likely going to do it. So with mine, my daily routine, like I said, 5 to 10 minutes max. I'm usually doing it while I'm drinking my morning coffee at the table, and it doesn't take me that long at all. So you want to have some type of system where you develop your own money routine. Now, these are mine. I have an entire video on how you can create your own money routine on my YouTube channel. So if you wanted to check that out, you can just head over to YouTube and type in creating a money routine, the organized money, and my video should pop up. And then you should be able to watch that video. It's a 5-10 minute video max, and it will tell you how you can create and set up your own routine. The next thing that I highly advise that will help you with creating your overall financial vision is organizing your file cabinet. If you have any type of file cabinet or folder or anything that you are keeping for your home, you definitely want to have some type of system to this file cabinet. So with mine, it is one drawer. I have one drawer in my desk that I keep all of our financial papers. And I have categorized here my file cabinet cheat sheet. And these are the things that I will keep on hand. I do try and scan a lot of these documents, and I'll keep the original paperwork here as well. But like when we leave, whenever we evacuate and have to hurry up and leave, I will take these documents with me, mainly because they are usually, I definitely will take our homeowner's insurance and any of our original documents like birth certificates, passports, and stuff like that, just in case we aren't able to come back or something happens with our home. But these are a list of things that you should keep on hand and have some type of organizational system. And that's like your policies, like your auto insurance, home insurance, your maintenance projects, so that you can know how much have you spent on maintenance for the past year. That will help you with figuring out how much you need to spend for the next year. You also want to look at your bank statements. If you have like an end of the year bank statement, or you want to scan your bank statement, or you want to download them and just save them to your computer, you want to have on track, especially if you're a business owner. You want to keep those things in your documents, in your files, just in case, because the bank only lets you look back for the past 12 months, I believe. And then after that, you aren't able to download or access any more of your bank statements. So having them on hand, just in case you need them, is super helpful. You also want your health insurance policies, dental policies, any explanation of benefits that you may have. And like I said, social security cards, birth certificates, and a folder for each family member. So this is something that I do with my family, is I have a folder for each one. That way I can keep track of doctor's appointments and different things that are coming up for each one of my family members. And for the kids, I do keep like their report cards and immunizations and all of those things in their folders as well. But organizing a file cabinet and having one central spot for all of that paperwork that comes into your home will help you stay organized, will help you stay on top of your bills, which in the end will help you with your vision and your financial goals. You'll feel like you just have it a little bit more together, right? So that's one thing that you want to do. The next thing that I highly recommend that you do is start planning. Of course, you can plan on your phone. I do use my phone from time to time. I use my phone when I am scheduling appointments, but I also use a paper planner. And the reason why I have my planner here, the reason why I use a paper planner is because sometimes you need to be able to write different things down. You need to be able to keep track of how you're spending your time. And Google, like, it'll tell you where you need to be and when, but you may not be able to keep track of what you already did. It's kind of harder to look back and really be able to evaluate how you're currently spending your time. Time equals money. Time and money are basically the same, and actually, time is more valuable than money because money, you can make it back. Time, once it's gone, it is always gone. You cannot get it back. So, with your time, you have to manage it because it's super valuable. And if you know how much you are currently spending your time in different places, you need to know. And the best way to know that is through paper planning. I like to plan by the hour. So I will keep track of what I am doing every hour and kind of write down what has going on throughout the course of my day. Usually I will write all of my plans in black, and then I will write in red what actually happened. And what this helps me do is it helps me to plan better in the future, which means I'm more efficient, which means I'm saving time, which means I'm making more money. So with the overall idea here is, if you just start to jot down, even if you don't get a planner, get a notebook and just start tracking how you're spending your time, because how you're spending your time will nicely correlate to how your money is going. All right, so we definitely want to start planning. And the next thing that you want to do is be realistic with your goals. So we talked about how to set them. We talked about the different things that you can do, but you want to be realistic. You don't want to set too many. If you set more than 5 or 6 goals, especially around your finances, usually it's too many and you're not going to be able to achieve any of them. You're usually going to get overwhelmed because it's a lot that you're taking on at one time. So I try and give myself no more than 5, and usually there will be one in each one of the areas that we talked about. So I will have a savings goal, an investing goal, an expense goal, a debt goal, and an income goal. So those are the 5 financial goals that I will have, and then I won't have anything else as it relates to my finances. Usually one will correlate to the other. So the first one is always my income goal. And once I'm able to achieve that income goal, then everything else falls in line because I've achieved the income goal, right? So the next thing that you want to do is give yourself some grace. You're not going to be perfect at this immediately. It's not going to happen automatically. So you want to give yourself some grace and some time to get adjusted to this. It takes on average about 90 days, 3 months to get adjusted to new goals, new visions, new habits, different things that you're trying to do. So you want to give yourself some grace. You want to give yourself some time in order to get adjusted to what you're trying to do. The next thing that you want to do is don't restrict yourself too much. I have seen so many of my clients who have tried to start budgeting, and they will limit and restrict themselves and say they can't go out to eat and they can't do this and they're not spending any money at all. But this is like crash dieting. If you decide to not spend any money at all, usually you'll be able to stick to it for a little bit, and then you will stop, right? And then you will crash, and then you will, you will start to go another way, right? So you don't want to restrict yourself too much. and you want to make, you're going to make mistakes. So if you make mistakes, if you're just going to have to roll with it, right? Because a lot of times when we have a lot of mistakes, we start to get feeling defeated, feeling like we can't do it, and we stop. But you want to roll with it and just see how you're going to go. All right. So I would, of course, love for you to continue to follow me. My YouTube channel is here. It's The Organized Money. Like I said, I post videos 3 times a week. Usually it's on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I have a free class that I do every single Monday, and it is called Monday Motivation Classes. I talk about planning because, like I said, time equals money. And I also talk about money. So I would love for you to join me on any one of those free classes. And of course, I also have my Tom Academy courses where you can browse my site and look at any of the courses that I already have on there and watch them. Of course, I would love for you to do that as well. So I want to see if we have any questions. Any questions? Hello, everyone. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave them in the comments right now, and I will try my best to answer them. And also follow me on Instagram as well. I am on Instagram at The Organized Money. I do try and post at least daily on Instagram and just share anything all the tips that I have throughout the day on planning and money. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll shoot it back to you guys.
All right. Great job, Ms. Fingal. We enjoyed you. I was in the back taking notes as well. I'm still going to give people the opportunity to just put their questions in there. And of course, they'll put it on the screen. We'll have Ms. Jorman to read those out once we get those questions in. But just a few of the takeaways that I had gotten, definitely the sinking funds was one of the ones that really stood out to me. It reminded me a whole lot about the emergency fund as well. And then running your home like a business, right? So that one was really key of how to just run your home like an actual business, have those meetings, whether it's monthly, weekly, quarterly, definitely doing that. The family financial meetings are very important. Being that this week or this month, should I say, is Family and Friends Month, making sure we're doing that is so key. And then the other one that really stood out to me is to develop a money routine.
Yeah.
So those were so very key. So I definitely ask you guys, do those things, get that planner because we want to make sure that we're organizing our money as well. So I want to see if we had any questions. If not, then we will move forward with my giveaway on tonight. The first person, I guess we'll do it this way. The first person that put in the chat, one of the just takeaways in which they had would be great. All right, go ahead, Ms. Kenya.
Okay, we have a question. What should one do if they cannot attain the income first?
So if you can't attain your income, I would start with your expenses. So there's 2 ways to do this. Decrease in expenses, increase in income. If you feel like income is going to be an issue, try with your expenses. Can you get rid of any subscriptions? Can you, kind of reduce on that end? However, I would try and encourage you to really look at your income, even if you do not try and get a second job, because the reason why is because you can only reduce your expenses so much. There's only so much that you can do. And with your fixed expenses, if you have a certain amount of bills, those are your bills, right? Like you might be able to get rid of a subscription here or there, but I want you to think about that income because a lot of times we are not thinking out of the box when it comes to our income. When I started, I was an accountant. I felt like I only could do a 9-to-5 job. That's all. I had to be an accountant forever, right? And it wasn't until I got into the social media space, until I started teaching what I already knew, and still I started talking about my planner, that I saw how much my income could actually open up. I believe everyone can teach something that they know. We all know something. And whatever you already know, someone else wants to know what you know. And you can teach it. And if you can teach it, your income is limitless. You can make at least 6 streams of income just from teaching what you already know. So I know that a lot of people usually will push back on that income portion because they feel like, oh no, I'm making all the money I'm making. I don't have the time. But I really, really think that if you dig deep, look online, look at different things that you could possibly do. Could you tutor? Could you do a course, online course? Could you jump on Zoom and teach some people in a Facebook group? However the case may be, it's possible. We can do it.
That's awesome. That's so very true. There are different ways in which you can definitely earn different streams of income, especially now that this virtual world has opened up. So I really like that one. I think we had another question to come up as well.
This may be a comment. It says, singing funds important to me.
All right, so that was Sister Linda Armstrong that mentioned that. So I believe she was the first person that had a response. So Sister Linda, make sure, hopefully they will show my email address. Please email me your information so that I can get this over to you. They'll put it definitely in the chat so that you'll have access to it. So this book is How Money Works, and we will have the opportunity within Economic Empowerment to go over this book in totality pertaining to how to eliminate some debt, definitely how to help our family members, not only ourselves, but holistically being able to get our debt down and get different streams of income as well. So I will have this book for you, and we'll be going over that later in this year pertaining to how money works and the importance of it. So congratulations to you, and thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Well, ladies, it's been fun. We've gotten a lot of information pertaining to finances. This concludes, of course, our session. Is there any other information you want to share with our followers, our viewers on tonight, Ms. Fingal, of what you offer, any services, or any upcoming events in which you may have as well? You're definitely well to do that.
Yeah, so I have a budget planner that if you are looking to get started with learning how to budget on paper, I have a course and a planner that work hand in hand and will help you walk through the process. The course is 6 steps, to 6 secrets of money. And really, we dive into how you can use your budget planner to budget on paper, set these financial goals, achieve that income that you want to achieve, and actually reach these goals. Because overall, we know that we didn't learn this stuff in school. And so I believe it's my portion, my anointing to teach it to everyone else.
Absolutely. And you're doing an amazing job with that. Thank you so very much. Sister Kenya Jarman, we want to thank you as well for doing an amazing job tonight with hosting this process with us, this session, should I say, with us. I definitely want to reiterate to you all on tonight, on last year during this very time, Ms. Fingal had the opportunity to come in and talk about the emergency disaster financial planning preparation. Definitely go back under our YouTube videos and you'll have the opportunity. Just type that in under United Christian Faith Ministry, UCFM Digital, and you'll have the opportunity to just go back and get those tips in which she provided to us on how to prepare for emergency disasters, in which we're in the process of going through right now. So we just want to make sure that we are well prepared for those things financially. With that being said, you guys, I just want to thank you once again for your time and commitment, and of course viewing this information on tonight. Definitely tune in with us on Sunday morning. United Christian Faith Ministries under the direction of Pastor Mark Ellis. This was put on by Economic Empowerment, so definitely tune in with us on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. With that, thank you guys so much. I see a lot of you guys saying thank you. This was fantastic. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Good night. Thanks.
Bye.